CNBC-TV18, embarking on a quarter century of excellence.
Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Ashmit Kumar and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening.
Suspended MPs from the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. They're sitting at Maharashtra.
78 opposition MPs suspended from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha today, the highest in a single day in parliamentary history. With this, 92 MPs have been suspended this winter session. Opposition parties were protesting in Parliament, demanding Home Minister Amit Shah's statement on the security breach. No new PLI schemes for now, but government is likely to tweak the schemes in 4 to 5 sectors, says DPIIT Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh. Hints at more measures to boost electric vehicle penetration, but also adds that schemes will not be curated for any single company when asked about Tesla. That's an exclusive. The self-regulation train has left the station, says Union Minister for State for IT Rajiv Chandrasekhar at the CNBC-TV18 Money Control Global AI Conclave. Also adds that AI growth does not need huge government incentives like the one currently being provided for semiconductors. Zee Entertainment seeks more time to complete the proposed merger with Sony, requests Sony to extend the timeline from the earlier deadline, which ends later this week on the 21st of December. The move follows the exit of several independent directors. Market regulator SEBI sets a list of conditions for the National Stock Exchange to fulfill before filing for an initial public offering. SEBI says NSE to strengthen infratech as well as corporate governance, also tells NSE to go glitch-free for at least a year. That's an exclusive. Vedanta approves a second interim dividend for this financial year ahead of a loan repayment deadline. With this, nearly 11,000 crore rupees will be taken out of the company as dividend this fiscal. Vedanta paid dividend worth nearly 38,000 crore rupees last financial year. Go First receives interest from 3 suitors: SpiceJet, Africa-based Safric Investments, and Sharjah's Sky One right to the Resolution Professional, expressing their intent in acquiring the bankrupt airline. However, none have indicated an offer price so far. Government tables a new draft of the telecom bill in Parliament. Unlike the previous draft, over-the-top players like WhatsApp, Skype left out of the ambit of the law. The powers given to regulator TRAI have also been retained. 90 people reportedly killed in overnight Israeli strikes on 2 refugee camps, according to Palestine officials. The UN Security Council will vote on a new resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire. Japan's Nippon Steel is set to acquire US steel worth nearly $15 billion. Nippon is the world's 4th largest steel maker, and it expects growth in the US to offset the declining demand in Japan. Elon Musk's social media platform X becomes the first company to face a probe over disinformation under the new laws in European Union. EU is accusing the company of failure to combat disinformation and manipulation on the platform. Well, let's begin with a look at the day's trading action. A range-bound session on Dalal Street is what we saw today. The sensex and nifty ended the session mildly lower. Now, the mid-cap index continued its outperformance after it hit a record high to end the day in the green. Meanwhile, banks relatively underperformed, with ICICI Bank being the biggest drag. Well, speaking of the markets, market regulator SEBI has set a list of conditions for the National Stock Exchange, the NSE, to fulfill before filing for its initial public offering. SEBI has asked the NSE to strengthen its technology infrastructure and go glitch-free for at least a year. The regulator has also asked NSE to improve its corporate governance structure and clear legal matters. Well, speaking of corporates, Zee's merger with Sony gets delayed. Zee Entertainment has sought for more time from Sony to complete the merger. Remember, the deadline for the merger was scheduled to be effective from December 21st, which is the end of this week. 2 years after the agreement was signed between the two media houses. The move followed the exit of several independent directors. Now, the overall buoyancy in investor appetite has encouraged many companies to go public. The Lal Street is set for a bustling week ahead with 12 companies launching their IPOs. They are raising about 4,600 crore rupees, which is an increase from about 4,000 crore rupees raised in the previous week. Yash Jain now joining on with more details about which companies are launching an IPO and the contours of the offering that lie ahead. Yash, big numbers, 4,600 as compared to 4,000 crores last week. Give us a sense, what are the big names coming to the market? What can we expect?
Well, Ashmeet, you talk about the optimism around the Indian markets or the general retail appetite or encashment before that Christmas break, whatever reason it be, there is a palpable excitement as far as the primary market is concerned. We have about 12 companies which would be launching their IPOs in this week to raise about 4,600 crore rupees. This includes some big names like Muthoot Microfinance, which will be raising about 960 crore rupees through its offer. That IPO opens today, will close on December 20th. The price band is 277 to 291. Today was the first day for that IPO. The IPO is already subscribed with about 83% subscription, retail and employee portion being oversubscribed. There's Azad Engineering also, the company looking to raise about 740 crore rupees through its issue. As far as that IPO is concerned, the price band is 499 to 524 rupees per share. Innova CapTab is another large IPO looking to raise about 570 crore rupees. Here the company's price band is 426 to 448 per share. That IPO also opens on December 21st, closes on December 26th. Another one is Credo Brands Marketing. That IPO opens on December 19th, that is tomorrow, closes on December 21st. The price band being 266 to 280 rupees per share, a total fund of about 550 crore to be raised. I want to mention this one IPO which opened today, and that was the IPO of Motisans Jewellers. As far as the price band is concerned, 52 to 55 rupees per share, 151 crore is the total fund it looks to raise, and it was subscribed 15 times on the first day itself, except for the QIB portion. All portions were oversubscribed. That is as far as the IPOs launching this week are concerned. But we also have about 8 companies that will list on the exchanges this week. This starts from DOMS Industries, Indian Shelter, SJ Logistics, Shree, OSFM, E-Mobility, Benchmark Computer Solutions, and of course Inox India.
Right, Yash, thanks a lot for that. So a busy week ahead for the primary markets. Shifting focus now to some national news. 78 lawmakers across opposition parties were suspended from Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha today. This is the highest single-day suspension in India's parliamentary history. It trumps the 3-day suspension of 63 MPs in March of 1989 when Rajiv Gandhi-led Congress government was in power. Opposition parties have been demanding a statement from the Home Minister, Amit Shah, after the Parliament security breach incident last week. The government, however, has not agreed. A total of 33 lawmakers were suspended in the Lok Sabha, while 30 were suspended for the remainder of the session. 3 face suspension pending the report of the Privileges Committee. The Lok Sabha list includes the Leader of Opposition, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, T.R. Balu of the DMK, Saugata Roy of the Trinamool Congress, among others. 45 MPs were suspended in the Rajya Sabha. 34 of them face suspension for the remainder of this session. 11 have been suspended until the Privilege Committee submits its final report. A total of 92 MPs have been suspended over the Parliament security breach protests so far.
हमारे जितने एमपीस को निलंबित किए गए उनको बहाली हो। सदन चलाना सरकार की फर्ज बनते हैं और सदन चलाते समय लोकतंत्र के मुताबिक विपक्ष को साथ में रखना जरूरी होते हैं। सारे सदन को जैसे कि अपने पार्टी ऑफिस के मुताबिक चलाना चाहते हैं। सदन आरएसएस और बीजेपी के तो पार्टी ऑफिस नहीं बन सकते।
नरेंद्र मोदी जी सरकार के खिलाफ, बीजेपी सरकार के खिलाफ उनके पास कोई एजेंडा नहीं है, कोई इश्यू भी नहीं है, मगर बगैर इश्यू को लाकर जानबूझकर इस सेशन को चलने नहीं देना, उसको रोकना, उसको अनडेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम से वातावरण क्रिएट करना, ये बहुत लोग जनता भी कोई सहमत नहीं है। स्पीकर बहुत आक्रोश था, स्पीकर ने तय किया है इनको सस्पेंड करना चाहिए, हम समर्थन किया, इतना ही है।
If they suspend all the members, how they can raise their voice? The important bills they are passing, even the law bill also. It's very important criminal law bill. Who will work with them? Who will raise the voice of the people? You tell me. Totally the voice of the people is being totally stopped, choked. Let them suspend the house first. They have no moral ground to run this house. To expel all the, suspend or expel the opposition fully. How they will run the house? They will run the mockery, nothing else.
सबसे सुरक्षित जो इमारत है उसके ऊपर हमला होता है और देश के ना प्रधानमंत्री बोलेंगे ना गृह मंत्री बोलेंगे, और हम अगर आपसे ये मांग करेंगे आप हमको सदन से बर्खास्त करेंगे, ये किसी को भी कबूल नहीं है और इसकी लड़ाई हम लड़ते रहेंगे। जो भी मीडिया वाले हैं, मीडिया कर्मी आपसे क्रॉस क्वेश्चन नहीं करेगा, इसलिए आप पार्लियामेंट में आकर जवाब नहीं दे रहे हैं। जिम्मेदारी आपकी यहाँ पे आकर बनती है और अगर हम ये मांग कर रहे हैं इसके लिए हमें बर्खास्त करना, तो ये हम कहेंगे कि हमारा बैज ऑफ ऑनर है।
We have been demanding that we should be heard and action should be taken against the BJP MP also who has given the pass. That's one thing we wanted, and we wanted the HM, Honorable HM, to come and give an explanation and to revoke the suspension of the already suspended MPs. But nothing was heard, so we were all protesting, and that's how we ended getting a suspension again. Next course of action is we'll always, voice our protests, and we will always do everything in a democratic way.
अगर मैं सस्पेंड नहीं होता ना, तो लगता कि मेरे प्रतिरोध में लोगों की बात रखने में कुछ कमी रह गई है। बैज ऑफ ऑनर बन गया आज, क्योंकि देखिए जो मैं दोनों सदनों में देखा, 92 लोग, अनप्रेसिडेंटेड, अभूतपूर्व है, और ये अच्छा इतिहास नहीं गढ़ा जा रहा। क्या होता है ना कि जब एक अथॉरिटेरियन फिगर को ये लगता है कि मुझ पर ये आक्षेप लग रहे हैं, तो इस तरह की प्रवृत्तियां उनके अंदर आती है। मैं अभी भी कहूंगा, गेट वेल सून। इस स्केल पे आपने जो सस्पेंशन किया है ना, आप कमजोर दिख रहे हैं।
Well, speaking of parliamentary action, the union government introduced the telecommunications bill in Lok Sabha today. The proposed bill excludes OTT platforms like WhatsApp and Skype from government's ambit. A key change from its earlier drafts, the bill also provides for government with sweeping powers to shut down any telecom equipment manufacturer on account of national security concerns. The new bill also retains the powers of the telecom regulator TRAI. Earlier version of the bill had proposed to dilute the regulator's powers. And in some corporate action, facing a deadline on loan repayment, Vedanta has approved a second interim dividend for this financial year ahead. With this, nearly 11,000 crore rupees will be taken out of the company as dividend this fiscal year. Vedanta paid dividend worth nearly 38,000 crore rupees last financial year. A lion's share of the dividend goes to the company's promoter, Anil Agarwal, who owns nearly 64% stake. The dividend has been steadily rising since FY22. And meanwhile, cement major Ambuja Cements has pledged to invest over 6,000 crore rupees in renewable power projects. The company is aiming to build 1,000 megawatts of renewable power projects by 2026. This list contains of solar as well as wind energy projects in Gujarat and Rajasthan. The move comes at a time when the firm is seeking to move rapidly to its net zero goals. And well, on to the aviation space now. 3 new suitors, including SpiceJet, have signaled their interest to acquire Go First. This comes nearly a month after the deadline. The submit a proposal for the airline ended with no bids. Ritu Singh now joins us with more details. Ritu, give us a sense. What are you picking up?
Just when lenders had given up hopes of finding a suitor for Go First, 3 entities, we understand, have come forward to express an interest in taking over the airline over the course of the last week or so. Now, we have been given to understand that domestic carrier SpiceJet is among those who has shown an interest, and in a letter to the resolution professional of the airline, SpiceJet has sought some time to conduct its diligence and evaluate the opportunity. Now, in this letter, it has indicated that SpiceJet was recently able to raise 2,250 crore rupees, and it could use some of those funds to acquire Go First. Now, besides them, an aviation consultant by the name of Sky One, which is based in Sharjah, has also shown an interest in acquiring the airline, and so has Safric, which is an investment firm that is focused on Africa. However, none of these suitors have indicated what they could actually offer the airline in terms of a concrete bid. So as things stand, the resolution professional is currently conducting a due diligence on these suitors to see if they make the eligibility cut, and the committee of creditors is expected to meet later this week to assess the next steps in light of this new development. Remember, we had reported earlier that Go First had received no bids when the deadline had ended on the 22nd of November earlier, and the lenders were even weighing liquidating the airline. Now, banks we spoke to indicated that they are going to watch out for whether SpiceJet or these other suitors, if they qualify, are able to come up with a decent bid, given that the ongoing litigations with lessors, etc., continues to pose a challenge in this matter. SpiceJet, Safric and Sky1 are yet to respond to our query on this story.
Right, Ritu, thanks a lot for that. Now, the government is likely to tweak the PLI scheme in 4 to 5 sectors, but no new scheme for now, says the DPIIT Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh. Speaking exclusively to CNBC-TV18, he hinted at more measures to boost electric vehicle penetration, saying that informal discussions are underway on cutting import duties. But he also added that schemes will not be curated for any single company when asked about the potential entry of Tesla into India.
So far, we've received across all of these sectors some 746 applications for PLI. These involve an investment of almost 3.65 lakh crores, out of which so far investment of 1.03 lakh crores has already come in across these 14 schemes. Actual production / sales has already reached about 8.6 lakh crores. Actual employment has reached 6.78 lakh persons. The Government of India never does, schemes that are curated for any particular company. Whatever we do will be done in a transparent manner for all applicants in that particular category. Even if we come up with any specific policy incentives, it will be open for all, and we will always try to ensure that it creates a level playing field for all entrants.
Well, former Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Arvind Panagria believes that PLI schemes are short-term incentives and they won't solve the long-term issues.
Large manufacturers such as that will not come attracted just by the subsidy, because they have a time horizon of 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. They are looking at the global marketplace. That's where they would ultimately want to sell. And the subsidies for a short period of time are not going to solve their long-term problems. So that worries me less. But I think protection, when we impose tariffs, that actually has a tendency to stay because it generates revenue, so therefore the government is never under pressure to withdraw them. Post protection in PLI we ought to avoid for the simple reason that, you can create certain sectors with these instruments, but you cannot, I don't think you can actually grow manufacturing overall.
Well, B2B e-commerce unicorn Udaan has laid off 100 to 150 employees following a restructuring exercise. We learned from sources that around 10% of its workforce was laid off. This move comes just a few days after it raised $340 million in Series E financing round. The layoffs come amidst the company attempting to turn profitable ahead of an IPO in 12 to 18 months. The company has said that it is providing support to the impacted employees. Generative AI has the potential to boost India's GDP over next 7 years. That's according to an EY India report. The cumulative impact on India's GDP may range between $1.2 trillion to $1.5 trillion, which is an additional 1% in annual compounded rate of growth. The report also says that India could add between $350 billion and $440 billion to baseline GDP in FY30 alone by capitalizing on generative AI across various sectors. However, the report also highlighted that 75% of the respondents expressed low to moderate readiness to utilize generative AI. And while speaking of AI, the government is planning to offer incentives to promote artificial intelligence computing, but the funds will not be as big as what was needed for the semiconductor program. That's the word coming in from the Minister of State for Electronics and IT, Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Speaking at the CNBC-TV18 Money Control Global AI Conclave, the minister urged nations to create a common global framework to deal with AI, as cyber crimes are not limited to just one jurisdiction.
Clearly, for large infrastructure builds like AI compute, there will be an element of public sector incentives or subsidies, as you saw in the semiconductor space.
70,000 crores was the ballpark number as far as semiconductor is concerned. Are we talking about
that? I don't want to get into, be baited into the number, but I can certainly tell you that you don't need that kind of number. You certainly today, we are already at an inflection point, the AI ecosystem in India. To get it really going and fly to the Mars and the Saturn and the moon of AI, we certainly don't need those resources. I can tell you, I can report from GPay in Delhi that what we are seeing in terms of real action, real solutions, real IP that is coming out of the Indian ecosystem without all of this, it tells me clearly that you don't need anything even remotely close to the semiconductor. Semiconductor, the investments are huge, the capital investments are huge, as you know, and you know, a fab costs you $7-8 billion, so it's not in the same ballpark.
Well, coming up on India Business are all the international and national headlines. And well, you can also catch all CNBC TV18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. Well, here's the big international story. Israeli forces continue to pound the Gaza Strip. According to Hamas-run health ministry, 90 persons have been killed in Gaza after strikes on a refugee camp and a hospital. The United Nations Security Council is expected to vote today on a new resolution calling for a halt to the fighting in Gaza. The new resolution calls for an urgent and sustainable cessation of hostilities to allow safe humanitarian access for those in need. This comes after the UN failed to pass a resolution earlier on ceasefire following a US veto. There's fresh trouble for Elon Musk-owned X. European Union has launched formal infringement proceedings against the social media platform. The EU suspects that X, formerly known as Twitter, failed to combat content disinformation and manipulation. This is EU's first such probe under the Digital Services Act, which requires large online platforms to do more to tackle illegal content. And Japan's Nippon Steel will buy United States Steel Corporation in a deal worth $15 billion. Nippon Steel will pay about $55 for a share of US Steel, which is at 40% premium from Friday's closing price. Nippon is the world's fourth largest steel maker, and it sees US as a growth market that can help offset declining demand in Japan. Meanwhile, Adobe has called off the $20 billion acquisition of cloud-based design tool Figma over regulatory hurdles. In a statement, the two companies said that there was no clear path to revive necessary approvals from antitrust regulators in the European Union and the UK as well. Adobe will now pay Figma a $1 billion breakup fee as per a regulatory filing. Oil giant BP has paused all shipments of oil through the Red Sea to ensure safety of workers. The move came after a series of attacks on vessels by Houthi rebels from Yemen. Several other shipping companies, including MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, as well as Maersk, have also suspended the passage of their vessels through the region. Experts say that this move could cause a big shock to the global supply chains. And well, back home, unprecedented rains have hit 4 districts of southern Tamil Nadu, submerging roads as well as residential colonies. At least one person has died in Tuticorin district. The state has sought assistance from the Air Force to facilitate relief work. Meanwhile, the Indian Met Department has issued a red alert for the region for heavy to very heavy rainfall in southern Tamil Nadu today. The government has declared a holiday for schools, colleges and the banks as well. Meanwhile, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has been summoned by the Enforcement Directorate for questioning on Thursday. This is in connection with the liquor policy case. This is the second time the central agency has summoned the Aam Aadmi Party chief. Kejriwal had skipped the earlier summons, dismissing it as political vendetta. And the third tranche of the sovereign gold bond scheme for FY24 opened for subscription today and will close on December 22nd. The Reserve Bank of India has set the price for issue at 6,200 rupees per gram of gold. The scheme offers a fixed rate of return of 2.5% per annum, which is payable half-yearly. Individuals investing in the bonds will be exempt from capital gains tax upon redemption. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Surat Diamond Bourse over the weekend. The Bourse is said to be the world's largest office complex, is also touted to be the world's largest centre for international diamond businesses. PM Modi said that the Bourse is a symbol of determination of New India. The centre comprises a customs clearance house, a jewellery mall, a facility for international banking and safe vault. And well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates continue right here on CNBC-TV18.
CNBC-TV18, embarking on a quarter century of excellence.